Everyone in the crowd laughed when the single janitor was fired on his final shift. His hands trembled as he collected his last paycheck, barely enough to buy his son's asthma medicine. He walked out believing life had finally defeated him, until 3 helicopters shook the ground, landing right in front of him. Soldiers jumped out, shouting the words that froze everyone in disbelief. "We need you. Only you can save them." What could a broke janitor possibly do that the military would need him for? This is the story of Ethan Cole, a father who had lost everything, until the world discovered who he really was. Ethan Cole once dreamed of becoming an aviation engineer, but after his wife died, giving birth to their son, Liam, everything fell apart. With no family to help and bills stacking up, Ethan abandoned his degree and accepted the only job that allowed him to care for his newborn, becoming a night shift janitor at a local high school. For 12 long years, he scrubbed the floors no one looked at, picked up the trash no one respected, and raised Liam alone with every ounce of love he had left. But the world was not kind. Liam suffered from severe asthma since birth. His inhalers and treatments drained every paycheck, and Ethan often ate leftover cafeteria food so his child could have real meals. Still, every night when Liam fell asleep in his arms, Ethan whispered, "Daddy is still here. Daddy won't give up." On his final shift, Ethan felt something wrong. The school had a change of management, and whispers said the janitorial department would downsize. Ethan did his work silently as teachers passed without greeting him. Students joked behind his back. Yet he stayed, because quitting would mean quitting on Liam. At 5:58 a.m., 2 minutes before the end of his shift, the new principal called him to the office. No eye contact. No thank you. Papers were slid across the desk. Budget cuts. Today is your last day. No severance. Ethan's heart punctured, but he smiled, because he refused to break in front of anyone. He packed his supplies, turned in his badge, and walked out into the early morning wind. Outside, life mocked him. His old truck wouldn't start. His phone showed 3 missed calls from the pharmacy demanding payment before they could release Liam's medicine. Ethan leaned against the truck and cried quietly, not for himself, but because he didn't know how to protect his son anymore. Then a rumble began. The ground shook violently. Everyone in the parking lot screamed and ran as 3 military helicopters descended onto the field, kicking dust into a tornado. Armed soldiers jumped out. People hid. Cameras recorded. But the soldiers weren't searching the crowd. They marched straight toward Ethan. "Ethan Cole," the lead shouted over the rotor noise. Ethan wiped the tears off his face. "Why, yes." The soldiers saluted sharply. "Sir, we need you. The Pentagon sent us. Only you can do this." Everyone stared. The jobless janitor stood frozen, too stunned to speak. Ethan was rushed into the helicopter before he could protest. His mind spun. Why him? Why now? A commander sat across from him, placing a tablet in his hands. On screen was a live feed of a damaged aircraft deep in the mountains, its pilot trapped, oxygen running low, every system failing. Engineers from around the world had already tried and failed to stabilize it remotely. The commander explained in a rapid voice. "Before you quit your degree, you were the youngest aviation systems prodigy the Air Force had ever seen. You designed code no one else understands. That damaged aircraft is running your prototype controls. If we don't retrieve the pilot, he dies in 2 hours." Ethan's throat tightened. His old dream, his abandoned life, was suddenly staring him in the face. But he shook his head. "I'm not that man anymore. I'm just a janitor now." The commander slammed the table. "No, you're a father who never gave up. That tells me you're exactly the man we need." Those words pierced Ethan like lightning. The helicopter landed at a military command center. There were endless screens, radios, alarms. Experts paced desperately. When Ethan walked in, they didn't see a janitor, they saw hope. Suddenly he felt a strength he had forgotten he possessed. Ethan sat at the terminal. A keyboard before him felt like reuniting with someone he once loved. His hands shook, but Liam's face flashed in his mind, and his fingers began to fly. Minutes passed like seconds. Warning sirens blared, countdown clocks dropped, sweat rolled down Ethan's forehead. Then, success. He stabilized the aircraft's engine, but the pilot was still trapped. So Ethan improvised a plan, rewriting navigation protocols that no one believed were possible. The room fell silent as they watched the aircraft reroute, dodge mountains, and descend safely into the desert. When it landed, the command center erupted with cheers. Ethan didn't celebrate. His eyes filled with tears of pure relief. He stood quietly as soldiers hugged each other. Then the room went silent again, because the pilot walked in. It was a woman, strong, determined, trembling with emotion. She marched straight to Ethan, saluted, and said, "You saved my life. I owe you everything." The commander stepped forward with a folder, his voice deep with respect. "Mr. Cole, the Air Force reinstates your engineering position with full salary, full benefits, and medical coverage for your son, effective immediately. You're no janitor. You're a hero." Ethan collapsed into a chair, sobbing, overwhelmed, free, and finally seen. Ethan returned home and held Liam tighter than ever before. Not because he had become successful, but because he had proven something far more important. You are never defined by the job you have or the mistakes behind you. Your worth is still there, even when the world doesn't see it. One day, Liam asked, "Dad, are you a superhero?" Ethan smiled, wiping tears from his eyes. "No, son. I'm just a dad who loves you more than anything." And that was enough to make him greater than any hero.